It's not unreasonable to ask the simple question about why South Africa's leaders are not negotiating with the United States. They went to China, they've dealt with Iran, and they should. They should try to expand their markets, but their most important trading partner, the one country that gives them benefication for the export of their automobiles in a major way, that gave them duty-free access to its marketplace for 25 years with nothing in reciprocity, is on the verge of imposing 30% tariffs across the board for South Africa. Yet South Africa has no ambassador, no special representative, no trade representative, no trade delegation anywhere even remotely near Washington, D.C. As I stand here in these verdant soybean fields behind me in central Pennsylvania, just opposite lovely cornfield right here, you can see wonderful agriculture we have here in Pennsylvania. There you go. Maize, as South Africans like to call it, right behind me. Soybeans on this side, very productive here in the center of Pennsylvania in the Cumberland Valley, very productive agricultural land. South Africa actually has a comparative advantage over other producers in the Southern Hemisphere. The quality of its farmers, the reliability of its product, and the quality of the product itself exceed others in the Southern Hemisphere. Should South Africa lose should South Africa not lose duty-free access? They've lost that. AGOA is gone, the African Growth and Opportunity Act. But should they actually have to suffer through a 30% tariff or possibly 40%, should President Trump's mention of an additional 10% for BRICS supporters, and they're a BRICS member, if 40% comes to fruition, it would be devastating and will cause a lot of pain, job losses, and potentially financial ruin, particularly for small producers in South Africa. U.S. markets are somewhat fickle. If you prove to be an unreliable supplier, then you're going to disappear. That's one reason why South Africa's citrus has done so well in America. It's been a reliable supplier. That and the other things I mentioned kind of give them a comparative advantage. But with other suppliers being available, South Africa may lose out. So why aren't South Africans negotiating with America? This is crazy. It makes no sense whatsoever. You can be angry at Trump, you can blame Trump, that's all fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, you're still screwed. You have to deal with the devil you know. Whether you like Trump or not, that's the situation at hand. And South Africa's politicians are ignoring it. And they're gaslighting South Africans, pretending all is well. But those in the agricultural sector, those in the automotive industry and the ancillary industries know that they're in trouble. You can't simply ignore your second largest trading partner. The loss of access to the U.S. market for $12 billion worth of goods and services shipped from South Africa to the United States at a trade surplus of $4 billion US. Unlike with China, which you ship mostly commodities to and you have a massive trade deficit because they send the finished goods back to you. The U.S. market is huge for South Africa and could likely knock off 2 points of your gross domestic product if all trade ceases. Yet politicians in South Africa are ignoring this. Why? Ask yourself this question. Why are South African politicians ignoring this looming crisis? We're now just 10 days away from the imposition of 30% tariffs. A lot of people seem to think that this acronym applies to Trump, TACO. Trump always chickens out. Except that Trump doesn't chicken out. That's a misnomer. That's silly. Trump imposed tariffs on Colombia, and Colombia changed position. Trump threatened to impose tariffs on Panama. Panama stopped the Chinese from negotiating for control of the canal. Trump threatened tariffs on Denmark. They all think he chickened out. No, he used the tariffs as a political tool to gain what he wanted geopolitically. And it worked. It absolutely worked. He's not chickening out. He's actually addressing these issues and using these tariffs as a tool. The South African politicians move forward at their own peril and risk the lives and employment of many South Africans. What say you, folks?